Hey, welcome to Cooking with Cookie. Today we're going to do Thai basil beef. Instead of beef, we're going to use elk. Pretty simple recipe. It's one pot plus the rice. You know, with Thai food, there's a lot of exceptional flavors. The basil is one of my favorite to cook with. Some people don't like basil. A lot of people add cilantro to this recipe. We're going to leave the cilantro out. One of the guys doesn't like cilantro, so sucks to be him, I reckon. So what we got sweet onion, Poblano pepper. We're going to change it up a little bit. Red pepper, fresh basil, garlic, and then our ingredients for the sauce. So before we do anything, I'm going to start with the rice. 3 cups. I'm using 3 cups of rice, just standard jasmine rice. 3 cups of water in the Instant Pot. And I'm adding some beef bouillon, since we're working with beef today. So what I've experienced with using bouillon in the rice, it's very important that you incorporate it into the water before you turn the heat on. Otherwise you get uneven spread of the flavors throughout the rice, and we're just trying to incorporate everything real well. Nothing like old school tortilla chips that had all the seasoning on one chip and then a bunch of bland chips. We don't want our rice to end up like that. So dump in the rice. Mix it up real well. Okay. Turn it on rice, and we're gonna let it fly. Okay, for the sauce, we're gonna add some soy sauce. That's our Instant Pot. Fish sauce, chili sauce, and we're going to talk about the chili sauce in a little bit, but the key to this recipe, I think, is this actual Thai chili sauce. So we add that in, and brown sugar, and we're going to post ratios and ingredients in a bit. And one lime from one juice. The juice from one lime. Easy for me to say, right? So limes are kind of tricky. You never really know what you're going to get. This one was picked this morning off of a tree. I like to add the flesh. It adds a little bit more flavor. You don't have to. Again, this is like all of the recipes. Make it your own. You know what you like. If you don't know what you like, experiment, add stuff, take stuff away. It's all good, right? So we're gonna use our rigid whisk. Okay, sauce is done. So now we're gonna go over and heat up the pan. Get it ready for the beef. So medium high heat. I'm using cast iron. You can use the cast iron enamel. You can actually use a Teflon pan. I try not to use Teflon after I saw the movie with the people with black teeth rolling around, but cast iron works. If you're skilled enough or patient enough to work with stainless steel, it also works, but this is pretty simple. A seasoned cast iron pan will cook non-stick. Okay, we're gonna drop the meat. There's a ton of tools out there to do that. I use one of these. It's just a masher spreader. Gets everything flattened out. So while this is cooking, I'm gonna go over and prep the vegetables. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is prep the bell pepper. Cut the top off. I just pull the core out. Dump the seeds. Depending on the pepper you get, you'll end up with 3 flats and a bottom. What we're after today is thin slices. If you have a really super sharp knife, you can cut it from the skin side. This knife is pretty sharp. I believe dull knives are dangerous, but I still prefer to cut it from the inside because it just makes it a little cleaner and faster. And I'm not actually moving the knife, I'm just tipping it back and forth. Again, without a sharp knife, you can't do that on either side of the pepper. Okay, now we're going to do the Poblano. Not as much on the middle. You can see it just pulls out. This one I just cut it in half. Get it close. Same concept. You cut thin strips. Again, this is an addition to the recipe. You know, I like the Poblano flavor. If you don't like the flavor of the green pepper, don't use it. Use the sweet red bell pepper. Okay, got our sweet onion. Gonna check on the beef real quick, or the elk. So if you've never had elk, it's an awful lot like beef. It's extremely lean. You could argue it's organic, unless you buy it in a store, then you can't say for sure, but this one's all organic. Shot it on a hillside in Colorado. So for this recipe, we're gonna cut the onion in half, top to bottom, after we've cut the ends off of it. It does a couple things for us. One, it makes it a whole lot easier to peel that outer layer. We're not even going to use half of this onion, but what we're after here is, again, thin strips. We're going to add 6 cloves of garlic. For those of you that have watched the show before, you know how we prep the garlic. Okay, 6 cloves of garlic peeled. Made quite a mess here. So there are, again, a million ways to do this. You can use a handheld garlic press. You can slice it. I crush them. and then chop them. And many of you are saying, man, that's a lot of garlic. Yeah, it's a lot of garlic. I like garlic. If you don't like garlic, don't use as much garlic or don't use any garlic at all. Okay, back to the pan. Oh, before we go back to the pan, we're gonna separate some basil. The big leaves, pull them off. I'm gonna set them aside. The little leaves, we're gonna put in the mixture. This is fresh basil. Highly recommend fresh basil. Dried basil is just that, dried. And it doesn't have the flavor or aroma. I mean, the sweet basil is just amazing. It smells wonderful here. So we got our vegetables ready to go. I think our meat is about ready to, oh yeah. Take the cutting board and we just feed it in. Now this is going to cook down for about 5 minutes until the vegetables start to caramelize a little bit. To get it good incorporated into the meat, we add the chili sauce. But you don't want to add the chili sauce to the raw vegetables. Now, one way you can speed up this process is by adding a lid. It takes it from about 5 minutes down to about 3 minutes because the heat is going to caramelize, or not caramelize, but it's going to soften the vegetables. We're going to leave it open because it smells amazing. Just making sure all that brown sugar is disintegrated or is incorporated into the sauce. Brown sugar, chili. I mentioned earlier that this sauce has fish sauce in it. If you don't like fish sauce, a great substitute is Worcestershire. Worcestershire is fish sauce that's been aged in oak barrels. There's a couple other ingredients in there, but it's just the European version of fish sauce. So now, if you wanted to speed up from 5 more minutes like this to 2 or 3, you throw a lid on there. It'll help everything incorporate, all the flavors mesh. And let that cook down for a few minutes. Again, simple jasmine rice with beef bouillon. It's Thai beef bouillon, but so there's a little bit of mint. Get a good amount of rice there. And we top it off with some fresh chopped basil. And there it is. So that's our Thai basil beef elk today. Go ahead and try the recipe. Hit the like button on the bottom. Go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.